Hello everyone and thank you for joining me. Well, today we are going to have a look at a very unique, from my point of view, fountain pen. It is another kind of capless designed fountain pen that for a change doesn't seem to copy any other fountain pen as far as I know, and they have their own unique design and sealing mechanism. In large part works pretty much like all the other capless fountain pens, but with a more simplistic mechanism, as far as I can tell. I actually kind of like the sealing cap that it has and how it functions. It almost looks like a silo for a missile cover, and as it opens as one as well, and the nib comes out almost like a missile's too. Pretty cool, to be honest, at least I find it as such. The mechanisms can be operated with one hand and the operation is pretty smooth. As an odd turn of events, this specific fountain pen has the clip in the more traditional place. However, that might be a little bit of a downside, to be honest. Chances of the nib dripping as it's stored nib down are fairly high, especially if it gets to move around a little bit as you travel. The reason why the capless design fountain pens like the Pilot, for example, has the clip at the base where the nib is, it's in order to be able to basically store it with the nib up and thus reducing the chances of ink drip. You can take the fountain pen apart pretty easily, but not completely. It will open just as a ballpoint pen and the cartridge is there ready to be filled. And I say cartridge because I do not know if this can take any kind of converter. At least it did not came with one, and at the same time, since the cartridge is so small, I don't think it can actually take one. And unfortunately, the cartridge also seems to be proprietary, or at least I have never seen any cartridges in this shape and form. And I am unsure if you can use any other ones to replace it. I haven't tried any other cartridges, but if by any chance you have this fountain pen and you did, let me know. In the end, let's hope this thing will last a long time. With that said, let's fill it up and see what's what with a quick writing sample before jumping into a scribble with it. For today's ink, I decided to use a Chinese ink that I have used in the past, specifically the Karkos Brown ink. I remember last time I used it, it gave me some really cool results, so I'm hoping today I will get more of the same. And since this fountain pen is coming only with a cartridge, I will be using the syringe again to fill it. Unfortunately, I cannot squeeze the cartridge to prime the feed since it's pretty rigid, so I will have to leave the gravity and capillary action to do the job. And surprisingly, it actually started writing right away without any kind of issues. I tried to fill the cartridge to the brim in the hope that this will force the ink into the feed as I push it over the nipple. I think it worked. Just be careful. Writing experience is okay as far as I can tell. On the normal side, the nib feels a little bit scratchy, but not by much, and doesn't seem to affect the line or the paper. Just the experience is not the most refined. On the reverse, it feels way more drier and scratchier. Not sure I can use it for my scribble, but fortunately the nib is fine enough, so I don't think I will have to. Should be interesting. With that said, let's jump into a scribble and let's hope we will be able to get something interesting today. The scribble for today, or drawing or sketch or whatever you want to call it, turned out again interesting, just like last week, kind of a more different. If anything, this scribble for today was a little bit more complicated than the one from last week, and by complicated I mean it just took longer. It took me about 2 hours and a little bit, so maybe half an hour longer than the one from previous week. And the results were actually even more surprising than last week. Again, didn't really have an idea on what I actually wanted to do, so kind of started with a line and actually the ground, and then a line coming from the ground, and I wasn't sure where I was going with that, and started to do my chicken scribbles on the page, and eventually kind of got like an oval with some things coming out of it. And then I realized that that could be an eye, and I kind of connected the eye with the thing, so I was like, maybe it's like a being sitting on that, I guess can be grass or whatever it is. And eventually it kind of turned out to be some sort of an insect, if it is an insect or bug or whatever you want to call it. A flying one specifically. Kind of resembles a dragonfly, or at least the end result looks similar with a dragonfly, with just some extra bits or different bits on it, and a different shape for the wings, which they look more like butterfly wings, or at least that's what I kind of end up with. And I kind of like it. I'm not sure what to call it. Maybe I'll just call it dragon tail rather than dragon fly, because well, the tail looks a little bit different. Maybe not dragonish, but I don't know. It's an insect, a flying insect, let's put it that way. And pretty simple drawing in essence. Just took a lot of time to do all the bits and parts, and especially in the shading. I'm not sure if I screwed up the wings on it a little bit. I kind of went for something, the idea of transparency, but I don't know how well translated on the page. So I guess that's one thing that I kind of need maybe to work on. One thing that I haven't mastered with, well, not that I mastered that much, one thing that I haven't got really good with fountain pens is how to draw transparencies or the feeling of transparency. I think I kind of, maybe because of that, I kind of screwed up the wings a little bit on this, whatever this is. And as usual, I brought in a little bit of pencil. This time I actually used the red and the blue, and I like how they combine, and I think they work pretty well with the brown. The blue was mostly for the body, and the eye I made it to be more reddish. Kinda like it in the end though, nothing wrong with it. I do like this. As for the fountain pen, well, it worked out pretty good. Not a lot of issues with it. Like I said, the mechanism works very nice, very smooth, and I had no issues with that. The fountain pen is pretty well balanced in hand. It's light, so I had no fatigue issues with it. It was quite a pleasure to use. The only disappointing part that I had was the nib. I actually, somewhere mid drawing, I got a little bit frustrated with it, so I went and not necessarily polished, but dragged the nib a couple of times over some very fine sandpaper. I forgot what number it was, but it wasn't something basically too abrasive. It was very, very light. And I worked it a little bit until I got rid of whatever scratchiness it had. However, the flow was still not ideal. I was almost tempted to actually replace it, but eventually I kind of decided to keep it as is and just keep on going until I finish it. So it kind of worked out. It's just I had to be very light in some areas, especially when I was overlapping the ink. Because if I was pressing too hard, it was starting to actually dig into the paper, and I actually end up with paper bits in between the times, and I had to clean them here and there. Yeah, so if there is something that I would do on this fountain pen in the future, I will probably change the nib with something a little bit better and a little bit smoother, or at least I will probably properly work on the nib and make it behave properly and give it a little bit of better flow on it. I might actually end up doing just that. I'll probably just work on it, because I don't know how easy it will be to actually remove the nib. I don't know if it'll create some complications, because since I can't actually remove the innards, I can't really tell how it was actually built, or at least I didn't stress myself to actually try and remove the inside parts of the pen. Seems to be either glued or somehow tight in there. It doesn't come out easily, or at least I couldn't. Anyway, apart for the nib, like I said, overall the fountain pen worked out pretty well. The other disappointment part, if you prefer clips, probably will be the clip on it. It's not very bendy, so you won't be able to put it on everything or clip it onto anything. It will have to be something pretty thin. And as such, I think of this clip more as a roll stopper. So if you use clips and you need them, maybe this one won't be for you. But yeah, fun fountain pen in the end. The nib, it's I guess a matter of luck. If you're lucky, you'll get a good one. If not, not. But if you know what you're doing, you can most probably work on it and get it going properly. Something that I'll have to do. So I don't know if I would recommend this fountain pen. I don't know if you would like it. Again, I don't know for how long it'll last, and since you can't, or at least I can't find any other cartridges that are similar with this one, and I don't know if I can fit any other ones in it, I don't know what to say. It's something that you'll have to buy it for yourself and decide if you like it or not. Personally, I'm not really sorry I got it. I'll definitely enjoy it for as long as it will last me. And yeah, fun fountain pen and interesting. I like it. With that said, I guess thank you for joining me. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the time lapse, and hopefully I'll see you next week when hopefully we'll get something just as interesting as we got today. A lot of hopes. Wish you all the best and a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.